My gameplay sucks, according to a lot of people, so let's fix it. In this video, I'm going to be building layouts to understand as much as I can about what makes good gameplay and how to make it, and maybe you too could learn some things along the way. If you didn't know, this is part of my 9-phase plan to gain enough editor skill to where I can get back to making full extreme demons and possibly create a very big project I had in mind. So anyways, let's begin by going to possibly the most important thing about gameplay, which is fairness. So if you've played any difficult levels, you probably know that when you get a death that doesn't feel like your fault, it is infuriating. Or when you practice a part over and over again and the part refuses to get consistent, that's also annoying. So let's try to understand what causes this. The good news is the legend himself, or Raken, or I don't know how to say exactly, formerly known as Manny Heffley, the guy who made Menace, made an amazing video on this exact topic. He goes over a lot of great tips to make your gameplay more fair and consistent, and there'd be no better way to test out making better gameplay than obviously making a layout itself. So I chose a song I like and came up with a little vision for the level and got started on working on this test layout. Alright, so here we are getting started. This is a new layout I'm working on for gameplay experimenting, and here it is. So basically what I'm focusing on, I want to feel consistent. I want it to feel, you know, like the deaths are the player's fault. One thing I learned from the video I watched is try to make your clicks not have a bunch of fluff. Just try to make it like pretty clear what to do. Okay, that is obviously really bad how that gravity portal makes us hit that spike. Okay, I think that works well now, yeah. One thing I was trying to keep in mind as I was making this gameplay was to kind of think of things from the player's perspective. Like, try to imagine how the player will approach these clicks and try to make it fair. Okay, I think that works pretty well. So basically what I want to be able to do, it's an extreme demon, it's somewhat flow based, it's obviously going to be learning, but I don't want this to be too learning, you know? Like, I want this to be like, you could pick it up somewhat easily. One thing I want to mention is the structuring on this layout is currently pretty much non-existent, which I really want to get better at structuring, but at first I'm kind of just focusing on keeping my gameplay consistent and fair. But in the next part, we will get to structuring. Alright, that part is working well, I like it, I dig it. I actually made an impossible gap here. Okay. Okay, this is a bit risky, but I kind of like the idea of putting a swing at this part. Alright, this swing part surprisingly works. Anyways, after a bit over 2 hours of building, that was good for the first session. I was pretty happy with how things were going and was pretty motivated, so I actually built more later that night on stream. So, today layout is light it up. What we have right here is about, I think, 13 seconds of gameplay so far. Oh, I almost passed it. Alright, brainstorm for a second. What are gameplay ideas here? I might go with the ball here, because there has not been any ball in this level yet. Add a few spikes so the timing isn't completely free. Also gotta be careful not to make it annoying. Put a little pink orb over here, and which will put you into a ship part. This isn't that hard. We'll make you kind of like fly up into a robot portal. Things are going pretty well, but since I was trying to make this extreme demon, I kind of noticed a little problem with that. Okay, everything does kind of look like this, which is a bit of a problem. Every buff kind of does look the same, but I don't have more creative ideas at the moment. Anyways, progress is going really well. Basically, I have 6 parts of this layout I want to make, and I want to make 1 part every day, and I was already almost done with the second part on the first day, but it was getting very late, so I finished it up. Anyways, I was happy with day 1. I think the gameplay flowed pretty well, and I think it was pretty fair, but I don't really know for sure until we get playtesters, which we'll get to in a bit. But anyways, let's continue on to the second day. Well, the next day, I didn't necessarily remember to record my building session, so you will not be seeing that. But overall, focus on pretty much the same principles, trying to make it flow well, but most importantly, trying to make the deaths feel like the player's fault. But yeah, day 2 did go pretty well. We got quite a bit done. And then day 3, I barely made anything, but I was still ahead of track, so it's fine. Anyways, on day 4, I finally finished all the pre-drop gameplay. Now we could get into the funner stuff. I can finally stop making like the slow pre-drop gameplay and do some more things. We can finally put some wave here. Let's go. I intentionally made the start of the drop easier just so it's not a super jarring transition, and also made the first wave section and kind of made this way too hard. I kind of made every wave part way too hard in this level, so balancing this is going to be fun. Anyways, I made this wave part transition to a nice click sync based spider. Probably just go with a pretty typical spider black orb click. Add a little red orb click here that'll like blast you pretty high. Progress is going pretty well and the parts weren't too hard to make, and I was getting through quite a lot of parts. Now I did have a dual section planned for later into this drop, which not only do my duels take forever to make, they still end up being really buggy. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun challenge. And we will add in another wave section. Yeah, let's nerf that. And then soon enough, it was time to face the inevitable. So what we got going on here is a duel. It's going to be interesting. This could turn out really badly. Let's try an orb here. It's gonna take a lot of trial and error though. I hope that this won't just like break randomly. I really liked how the flow of the duel was feeling, but there definitely were some bugs and things that were kind of breaking. I tried to fix what I could right now, but I also just gotta save some of it for playtesting. I'm in quite the pickle right now. Okay, wait, something's going wrong. I also was buffing it with spikes and saws to add more difficulty and try to direct the player more. But yeah, there were still some problems, but it was going pretty well. Other than the fact that it was taking me really, really long to finish it. I think this is working pretty well right now, but I'll like come back to it tomorrow. For now, let's just move on to the next part. That part should be pretty easy. Alright. Today, we did a lot. Well, day 4 was really good. I made it solid 20 seconds of gameplay. There was not much left of the base gameplay. It was almost done. Now on day 5, it was time to finish off the base gameplay, and I got back to work on the next asymmetrical duel. It's a bit weird. Wait, no, the ship is not supposed to hit that pad over there. Alright, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but we're figuring stuff out. I think I'm actually going to make this portal here turn you into a normal robot, because I am kind of tired of making a duel right now. I added a short burst of a duel for the climax, and then made one final hard wave part before the last section. Alright, this is where it's gonna end, so yeah. Where's a good place to put a mini ship so it's not the same exact thing the whole time? I basically want this level to end with a nice, scary, tense straight fly, so that's what I was making here. Every level needs to end with a scary triple spike, right? Kind of just add in a bunch of filler saw blades. This part I kind of wanted to make you hold into gravity portal. Well, that is it. Alright, well that is literally it. Like, the layout is done. We'll still add some effects, experiment with that, you know, play test it, balance it, all those good stuff, but the base of everything is done. Well, there you got it. The base gameplay has been complete. I'm quite happy with this. I feel like it flows a lot better than my older levels and feels more fair. So this is a win. However, we are definitely not done here. The next 3 days from days 6 to 9, I focused on visuals for the layout. I was pretty confused and unsure what to do at first, but I eventually came up with the system. I went through every mini section of the level, starting with adding camera triggers, some shakes, then the flashing gradient in the background and some pulses for the objects, and finally some fading screens and shaders. This did take a while to do, but I feel like this system was kind of the best thing I could come up with. Anyways, everything turned out fairly nicely, but the pulses definitely felt a bit lacking in energy. I'll try to do a bit better visuals on the next layout, but I think I'll just leave this one be. It was still not bad though. I was pretty happy with it. And then finally, we got the balancing and playtesting phase. It also took me a bit to come up with a system of how I should approach this. But basically what I did was I went to every 10% chunk of the level. I played the part and tried to complete it, and I nerfed anything that was too hard and buffed anything that was too easy. And then after deliberately going through every chunk of the level, making sure it was bug-free and balanced, then I just tried to get some big runs on the level and made sure I enjoyed it, because if I don't enjoy grinding my own extreme demon, well then something's wrong. Anyways, the best run I got for now was 26 to 82, which is pretty good. Oh my goodness, I got 26 to 82 on my layout. Well, that was enough playtesting for me, and it is time for the final phase, playtesting from other people. So I decided to make a community post showing the unlisted ID for the layout, so anybody who wanted to could playtest it and give me some feedback. So far I got a couple people to play it. The feedback I got so far was that the ships are a bit too hard and the duels could still be less buggy. But other than that, I heard that most of the gameplay is pretty good and the playtesters seem to like it, so that is very good to hear. Now I will say that even after this video is out, the level's still going to be playtested a bit, and I'll still be updating it a little bit, but that's really just going to be small tweaks, and the layout is pretty much just done. So here it is after about 13 days on and off of working on this layout, and what I believe to be my best gameplay yet, I present to you the lighted up layout.
just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop.
Well, there you have it. If you'd still like to playtest this level and give me some feedback for my next layout, well, this is the idea. It is up for anybody to play. But yeah, that is it for this episode of gameplay creating. We learned a lot of things about how to make gameplay more fair, some things about better flowing gameplay. However, I'm definitely not done with this phase of gameplay fixing. Out of the 9-phase plan I mentioned in my other video, this is definitely the biggest one that I want to spend the most time on. So I'll probably be making another layout or two to learn some new things, such as structuring, better flow, trying to make sure the gameplay isn't skippable, and quite a few things we still got to go over. I have no idea how I'm going to find a good way to structure my layout, so that will be one heck of a challenge. As I did here, I'll be streaming the creation process of my next layout, and also uploading a bunch of progress shorts to keep y'all updated. Anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.